Humbl3 Fam. How about y'all come on in and let's have us another visit here on the Humbl Show. I am Grant Fletcher, and I'm being joined this week by my co-host Moonbeam Hallows and our special guest Danny Flamingo, Wildkat Revolution Champion. Brandon Cox is out this week. He is not feeling well, but how's everybody that's here?
Feeling great.
Fantastic, baby. Fantastic.
Yeah, you made it back to Danny. You made it back to New Orleans, okay, from Neshoba County last weekend.
Yep, we took the scenic route. The GPS said it was a quicker route, and I absolutely loved the countryside. Driving on the road is probably one of my favorite things about being a pro wrestler.
Did y'all go through the Natchez Trace?
What's that?
Y'all went down the Natchez Trace?
I think so. I'm not 100%. I mean, but I believe that was it.
Yeah, that's pretty.
It's funny you mentioned that because like we had to we picked up Ron Simmons from the airport on the way in, but the closest airport is in Jackson, Mississippi, which is like an hour, 90-ish minutes to an hour away.
Well, it's the closest international airport.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
We got one in Meridian.
You can fly into like the airstrip. Yeah. But like we pick him up from the airport and we're driving and we're going down that Natchez Trace. And he kept saying, because like I've only made that trip over there once myself, and Ron Simmons kept going like, "Where are we right now?" And I kept being like, "Ron, I don't know. Ron, I don't know where we are right now. Like we're just we're somewhere in Mississippi. I have no idea."
That's right.
We saw about 1,000 deer.
I would be excited just to spend 90 minutes alone in a car with Ron Simmons. I bet that was fantastic.
Oh, he's so awesome. He's rad. Yeah, if you ever listen, I'll recommend it right now. If you ever get a chance to spend 90 minutes in a car with Ron Simmons, do it. 90 minutes both ways. It was great. He's.
I believe it. I believe it.
He's a funny guy too, man. He's real funny.
He's so sweet.
Yeah,
absolutely fantastic guy. I got to talk to him before we left the hotel, and like last time he came to Wildkat Sports, man, he's always willing to, to contribute. He's always like just a great guy all the way around.
Oh, yeah.
He's like that.
He is not a diva. He is just a cool dude. I just love him. Well, I know my kid wore him out this weekend. Every time I look over there, she was bugging the crap out of him, and I was just like, I'm just not going to say anything.
I apologize on your behalf.
I appreciate somebody doing it.
He just laughed whenever I said he just laughed. Yeah. Well, I gotta know, man. Danny, tell me, because like this was your first experience in front of the Neshoba County crowd in that Coliseum. Tell us how you and how everybody else with the Wildkat Sports crew felt about that crowd there.
It was really exciting. For me personally, there was another first. This was the first time I've ever wrestled outside of my area as a babyface. Usually Danny Flamingo, if he's on the road, he's a bad guy all the way. I'm as mean as they come. I mean, Grant, you know that. You've been watching me from the beginning.
Seen it.
So being able to wrestle as a babyface in front of a crowd that has no idea who I am, was really exciting. Like, again, it's a first in my career. I've been a pro wrestler for 10 years, and I ain't ever done anything like that. And also, we used it as a really good teaching tool for our students because they are used to seeing the Wildkat crowd. And Luke Hawks, Buku Dow, Matt Lancy, myself, Jay Spade, we've helped cultivate that crowd over the past years that we've been here. So it's like it's a little easier to wrestle in front of a Wildkat crowd if you're coming from our dojo. And for all of us to be out in that Coliseum, which was a beautiful facility, probably one of the best we've wrestled in. I mean, it's not as big as the Pontchartrain Center, but I mean, like that was a really beautiful facility. It was exciting to wrestle in something that big.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, it was a big. I really liked it too because I'd never been in there before myself, and so we went in there. I was like, man, this spot is pretty cool, And of course, the Humbl Enterprises crew, they show up and they class it up. They make it look real nice. They dress it up for everybody. You know what I mean? It looks good.
Yeah, well, I mean, it has a dirt floor in it.
Right,
that's
right.
That we got the Coliseum the very last week before they take the floor up. They take it up for rodeo season and monster trucks and exotic pet expo. You know, she said that lady told me, she said normally there's just people just let their goats and rabbits just run wild down there.
I believe it. See, we can't thank y'all enough for y'all's hospitality. It's something that when we have guests come into Wildkat Sports, and if you ain't from the South, you don't understand the term Southern hospitality.
Right.
And it is really nice to be on the receiving end for that, for a change. And really, from the bottom of my heart and all the guys here, we can't thank y'all enough for that. It was absolutely fantastic.
Well, y'all were awesome. We were so happy to have y'all. And just like I was telling, I mentioned it to Grant. I mean, of course, he knows it's not every day. And we do, shows in the Southeast. We get all kinds of, celebrities and things like that. But nobody promotes like you guys. I mean, y'all just killed it in the promotion. It was just a wonderful thing to see that y'all were excited to come. It just made the whole thing have a whole new feel to it.
We greatly appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Well, and that was one of the things whenever we were talking about it at first, when they were saying, hey, we want to have live wrestling, who do you recommend? And one of the things.
First thing out of your mouth was Wildkat.
It was. I said Wildkat, and one of the things I said, the reason why is I was like, for one, y'all are going to put on a great show. I know what we're getting when Wildkat gets booked. And two, because I knew y'all were actually going to promote it. Y'all are actually going to do what you can. Because I know it's frustrating. Because I know in your world sometimes there might be people that you book from outside, and they don't promote anything. And it's like you do realize that you're the product, right? Like you the wrestler are the product. You need to promote. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I know that can be frustrating whenever you're running shows out there, man.
We had got approached by Hard Rock the House of Blues. We got approached by the House of Blues one time to maybe do a show. And we went and toured the facility on Decatur, and like everything seemed like it was really lined up really nice. I don't know why it didn't go ahead, but it's one of them things where we tell people when they book us, it's like, hey, not only you getting what we bring to the table as far as the entertainment and the wrestling, but also too, we promote. So it's like, hey, we have just as much of an investment in it as the people putting on the show. And again, it's a symbiote circle. Like, we got to help each other. It's the only way we're going to make it is if we do it together.
Yeah,
that's true. You
guys killed it in that. I mean, if anybody needs if y'all need a reference, I will.
Thank you very much.
Promote the crap out of it. Yeah, it's awesome.
Luke Hawks might have that figured out. Man, that guy knows some people. Does he know people or what?
Look, man, Luke Hawks knows everybody. It is my next door neighbor. I'm my next door neighbor. I brought him a poster one time and let him know that I was a pro wrestler. And he's like, man, you know that guy Luke? And I'm like, yes, I know that guy Luke. Luke knows everybody. He's like the mayor of nowhere and just knows everything.
How's that
He's
happen?
so sweet. He's
right?
so cool.
I mean, when you're in it for like 25 years, I think it's kind of what happens. But that's really funny. I guess we talked about this. So Luke's been doing it for 25 years. How long have you been wrestling now, Danny?
I'm going on my 11th year.
I was going to say it had to be somewhere around a decade. So
yeah,
I remember.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I remember when you debuted.
Oh, really?
Because I was there.
That's right. You were in the front row, weren't you?
Oh gosh, I don't know if I was sitting in the front row at that point in time. I only sat front row a couple times. So here's the thing, because we've talked about this before on here, right? So I used to cover the Wildkat shows for PW Insider. And, Luke had sat me in the front row a couple times, but to be honest with you, I really didn't like it. I like sitting in the front row for a show, but like if I'm working, because I'm writing notes and I'm on my phone, I'm doing you know what I mean? And I'm like, man, they're grabbing video, they're grabbing pictures, and then there's this guy who's like got his head down half the time writing stuff. I was like, it doesn't look great, for y'all's presentation, I felt like. But so, I'd sit up in the bleachers, watch the show, and get what I had to get, you know what I mean? But it was fun. It was a great time. I just don't have time to do it anymore. We do this now. It's a kind of a crazy big deal. It takes. I don't know if you know this. It takes a lot of time to put on these shows. I don't know if you've.
I just show up and I just show up on Thursdays at late.
Yeah, of course.
And then I'm like, oh, hold on, I need to go pour a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
I can imagine the amount of work that goes into it, but I won't lie, I don't really know. I mean, again, I have a great respect for other people's crafts, especially when I don't know what I'm talking about.
Are you talking about putting on the shows or putting on the humble shows?
I thought it was the podcast he was talking
That's what
about.
I thought he was talking about. If you're talking about that, I don't have anything to do with that. I just show up and provide some sort of a redneckery to the whole operation. But
I was talking about conventions. Yeah, I show up and
that's a lot of work.
I waltz in there like we're at the show Saturday. I waltz in there about 5 o'clock on Friday, and we throw some furniture on the stage and I plug some cables in, and then I check a mic, and I'm like, all right, I did my whole job, everybody. I'm done. And then I just show up and what's that?
I've seen the setups for like Comic-Cons and things like that, and I know it is very, very intricate. It takes a lot of work.
Yeah, it takes a lot of many hands make light work though. So
that's right.
That's true.
Volunteers and
we got a good crew. We really do. Like we say it all the time. We have an awesome crew.
I want to be a little vain if I can for a moment. You've been watching me from the beginning. I want to know what you thought about the very first time you saw Jay Spade and I debut at Wildkat Sports at that show in that tag match.
Yeah, because y'all were together and then pitted against each other pretty quick, right? Is that what happened? If I remember,
that was always the plan. Is we were going to debut. Like when our very first match was actually in Mississippi, the month before, in January. We wrestled. Jay Spade wrestled Matt Lancey, and I wrestled Carlos Socorro.
Yeah,
and then that was our dry run. And then they were like, okay, now we're gonna do Danny Flamingo and Ricky Starks versus Jay Spade and Purple Haze, and then that's what you got to see.
Yeah. I thought y'all. I mean, here's the thing: is I've gotten, and that's part of the thing about when we talk about just being spoiled by different outfits. Y'all were solid, and you look solid out there because of the training y'all had, at Wildkat Sports. So, I mean, that was the thing. And I mean, the thing about that is it really made me want to see more. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, okay, these guys are going to continue to evolve and they're going to continue to get better. So, like, if you're starting out solid, you're doing pretty good. You know what I mean? Because, I mean, you and I have both seen some pretty rotten guys that are just starting out. And that's just the way it is, man. Of course, and then they let you cut a promo pretty much on the crowd early on, I think. And that's whenever you caught fire over there.
Right. Well, it's funny because after that match, I remember going in the back in the locker room, and like Luke was jumping around like a kid in a candy store. Like he was so happy with the performance.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting back just being like, man, like it was so real. Like I wasn't, like all of it was just fantastic. And I remember even as a heel, they let me go out because my whole family came to watch my debut match. And it was just, it was crazy to see that. Any other time, like most people, they don't really know how we structure a card. You have certain matches that'll be at certain points. And usually when you put the second match of the night on, that's usually the popcorn match or the bathroom match. And that was the first and only time I have ever been the second match on a Wildkat card was my debut match for the company. It's never been since. I'm either curtain jerker or I'm right before intermission, right after intermission, or I'm main event. It's never a lackluster spot on the card,
That's that's funny because you mentioned that because the curtain jerker, like you said, the first match on the card, that's the one that sets the pace, right?
Yep.
I mean, you've got to have a good solid match out there for your first match if you actually want the crowd to get into it.
What'd that person say after PJ? They said follow that or try to follow that. What they say?
So after that first match at the show, I was told by someone who would know, like I said in the last episode, good luck following that.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much of that y'all could see from where you were back there, and I'm sure y'all were all getting ready for your matches. So I don't know if you saw it or not, but then again, I guess you could hear the crowd. They were into it. So, and you went on. At right before, like you said, right before intermission, you were like main event of the first half, and you defended your title against Chuck Divine, and y'all went all over the outside of the ring, and really beat each other up, and you came out on top, man. So congrats on holding on to the title.
Well, I mean, I appreciate it, and Chuck being technically Chuck was one of my students, but Chuck definitely holds his own, and he definitely proves his worth. He's the longest reigning Wildkat champion in our history of any title.
Yeah.
511 days is nothing to shake a stick at. And I was able to be not only the one to dethrone him, but keep that title away from him.
And that's your second reign with the Revolution title, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Last time I was champion was 7 years ago.
Okay, yeah, it's been a minute then. Chuck's big, man. He's a big guy.
Yeah,
too. And I feel like he's just gotten bigger. Like he just continues to get bigger.
Well, Chuck, like I said, Chuck is not a pushover by any stretch of the imagination. Again, on 512 days is nothing to shake a stick at. I mean, it's longer than what my last reign was for sure.
I don't know. He might be eyeing up Brady Pierce right about now.
I mean, if I was him, I would be. Also, too, don't forget, him and Rob McKnight have been doing pretty good things. So, I mean, like, if he wanted to transition into the tag team division, he could totally do that. But, yeah, Brady Pierce better have his head on a swivel because Chuck Devine is definitely one of them ones that's in line for that title.
Yeah, that was good. Let me tell you something, man. It was funny at Moonbeam. I don't know if you caught that or not, but when Brady walked out of that curtain, the crowd was in love with him immediately. Oh. Did you catch that?
Yeah, I noticed. I noticed all my ladies up front.
I was like, man, he could. At that point, I was like, man, that guy could go out in the ring and just take a nap, and
he could just go out there and just read the phone book. But no, a couple of my friends, my best friends. That's the thing about doing an event in our hometown. I got all my family and my friends to do volunteering for me. And my two best friends from high school, Valerie and Bonnie, went and got their picture made with Brady. And they came back. They said, he looks like a cutout. He looks like a cardboard cutout.
He definitely puts the time in. You can see that.
Yeah, that was what's funny is I was on the other end of the building. I was standing next to Buku Dao when he walked out. I was like, oh, they love him. And Buku Dao was like, yeah, he's a supermodel. Look at him.
What's funny is after we did the press conference, Brady, we're in the back, and Luke's trying to calm everything down, and Brady looks up and he says, I've never wrestled babyface before. I don't know if I could do this. And I looked at him. I said, dude, all you got to do is go out there in your trunks, man. Everything else is gonna do the rest, man. Like it is what it is.
That's funny. I didn't even hear him say that. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, it was the same thing like with Latimer when I wrestled in the St. Bernard Civic Center for NWA. We're about to go out, and Tom looks at me and he says, mate, I've never wrestled as a babyface. I don't know how to do this. And I looked at him, I patted him on the stomach. I said, hey, you a babyface tonight, baby. We in Chalmette. Don't you worry about that.
Yeah.
And sure enough, like it was funny watching these guys who have never done the other side, a football term. They've never played on the other side of the ball before. Yeah. And I mean, even me being in Mississippi, nobody knew who I was. And here I am, a guy wearing pink, and I'm gonna be the baby face. And I mean, it's just a testament to how good of a heel Chuck Devine is. I mean, it just we put on a great show. We tried.
Yeah, he was definitely doing his job for sure. I had to send security over to the tables because some kid got so mad he threw a bottle at him. I don't know if you caught that.
I heard about it. I didn't see it, but I heard about it. Yeah. Was that the Hulk Hogan kid?
Yeah.
He was the best, man.
I like how you were able to pick out, oh, that was the kid in the Hulk Hogan suit.
I don't remember who it is, but he had done his job just good enough that kid was just like, so yeah.
Which is great. Which is as a heel, that's what we want. We want them people to be so mad at us. It's ridiculous.
Chuck what's funny is he did have a small but vocal section of the audience on his side. At some point in time during the match, they were right by the entrance. Like they were booing me when I was leaving. I looked at them, I was like, "Come on, bro, really? What is that all about?" That's good, man. That's real good.
What's your beef with Suge? Because he posted something today, talking about what did he say? Trying to get this Flamingo fan out of his face. Did you see that?
Suge might be a little butthurt because he had a Revolution title match lined up, and that show ended up being canceled.
Oh, that's right. It was an outdoor show. Yeah. And it rained. It got rained out. Yeah.
And they haven't put him back in line for a title match. So I mean, he might be a little butthurt about that, but hey, that's his problem, man. What can I say?
Yeah.
That's a Suge White we're talking about. I kind of feel like Suge White has a little bit of beef with everybody. I think that he's just got
he got a big chip on his shoulder. He's young. I mean, he's gonna have to be. Yeah. Oh yeah. He's gonna have to be taken. He's gonna have to be taken down a few pegs. And hey, if Danny Flamingo's gonna be the one to do it, I got no problem with that, baby. Grant, you know me well enough. The bigger, the better.
That's true. He's big. He's got a lot of personality too. I think he's got a future ahead of him.
Oh, absolutely. Him and there's a handful of guys coming out of the Wildkat school right now that are really definitely showing their worth. You know, they got a long road ahead of them, but they have a lot of potential.
Yeah, that's true. He's mean too.
He's definitely
He's
a
got a mean
star.
streak. He's looks good. So he asked Magnum TA. He said, "What do I need to do about all these cupcakes? What did you do with cupcakes back in the day?" And Magnum TA said, "We didn't. That didn't happen. We just didn't have them. I mean, that would beat you up for real." Back then, I mean, you know.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Well,
not
I mean,
just
and-
like
What
not just
that's
like
about.
on like the physicality. I mean, it's such a physical thing y'all do, but like, you know, they would just drive you out.
What you talking about cupcakes? Now, yeah, look, just pretend for a second that I am not versed
I
in
think
wrestling.
that's less of a wrestling term and more of a Suge White term. I'm just gonna put that out
Well-
there right now.
Okay,
Well,
because
no, but what he means is that, so what you have is there's certain things when you get into pro wrestling you have to be ready to take, and I'll give you two examples. First example is a chop. That's what I was doing. Chuck Devon. Yep, the slap on the chest. The
Right.
next one is a club. That's the hit to the back of the back.
okay.
And the thing is with these two moves, those are two moves that you should be able to take no matter how rough they are, because we're not sissies. This is a physical
Right.
sport. Regardless of what people may say about it, it takes a form of athleticism.
Oh, no doubt.
And when Suge says, "What do we do about these cupcakes?" Meaning that if I give somebody a chop or if I give them a little bit of a snug hit and they go in the back and they piss and they moan, "Oh, bro, you hit me hard, boo hoo 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 hoo." It's a physical sport. Yeah, I don't want to really like just hurt somebody and just completely have them to where they can't go to work the next day. That's not the goal. The goal is to entertain.
Right.
However, when I put my hands on somebody, I want everybody to know that I was there. And when he says that, what he's talking about is when he grabs a hold of somebody, it's a physical sport. They should be ready to get physical, period. You know, there's still a level of professionalism that you can achieve and be physical, because that's what we do. We're professionals. It's what we do.
Yeah, I mean, it's.
Yeah.
I mean, look, man. Whenever you bump, when you hit the ring, you're not falling on a big mattress or a trampoline or anything like that. I mean, that is wood. It's wood boards. It's metal. It's, you know what I mean. It's
There is
you know.
padding. There is padding, but
yeah,
it's not a
padding so
lot
that
of
you
it.
don't break all
Yeah,
your bones.
it's all the
basically.
padding. It's the
That's all
same
it is.
padding I got on my cushy mattress.
Right.
And it's about that thick. It's about
Yeah.
that thick. It's
Listen,
not very thick at all.
We were
You know, it's funny. When you go to
Yeah.
WWE, the padding on the outside of the ring is like 3 or 4 times thicker than what's in the ring. So it's almost easier to bump on the outside of the ring at WWE than it is to bump in their ring. And their ring is stiff as hell.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Well, because it's a bigger ring, I guess it's got to be, you know, reinforced. Well, not reinforced, but you know what I mean. It's got to be right.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, that's the thing about it, is because I mean, if y'all listen to our last episode, you know, we did one, you know, while y'all were doing a couple matches out there. We recorded it during the middle of the action, and you could hear all the bumps, and we're on the other end of the thing. You could hear them on our microphones, you know, our directional mics aimed at us. You could hear it,
Yeah.
you know.
Right.
So
And Grant explained what a chop was to us, like on the last episode.
I said, you want to know how you fake a chop? And they said, how? I said, you don't.
No,
Yeah.
no, you do not.
Just do
And the
it.
funny thing is that's one of the things where we're able to do our job better, because when we do that chop, usually it echoes through whatever auditorium we're in.
Yeah.
So I mean, again, I'll chop somebody, and then when I punch them in the head or I'll punch them in the face, everybody's like, "Oh my God," you know. So I mean, it's just it adds that level each time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, let me ask you: is the slap in the face also a cupcake?
So
Like Because it looked like it hurt. I
a
mean,
slap in the face is a very touchy thing in our business.
okay.
So it's one of those things where you can lay it in and you can slap the shit out of somebody, no problem. The question is do they know it's coming? So the thing is that if you're being disrespectful and you're really trying to be, for lack of a better term, I apologize, a dick in the match, yeah, you slap the taste out of somebody's mouth and they're gonna take it or they not. But also too, when you're working an angle and it's like, hey, we're face to face, it's like, all right, I'm gonna slap the shit out you, and the other person's like, all right, let's do this. You know, Luke and I had a similar thing when we wrestled for the first time. We're squared up in the ring face to face, and he just looks at me and he says, slap me. And I did a light slap And then when he gave it back to me, he slapped the shit out of me. Like, pow, Now, he didn't knock me out because we still had to wrestle a match. But like, I had my opportunity to give him something, and I didn't. And he's like, nope, I'm going to show you why I'm the coach. Bye out. And here we go. We wrestled a match, Yeah. So, I mean, it really is touchy. But usually with something like that, no, we're not going to pull that because we're not going to insult the fans. And the thing is people spend their money to come be entertained. And I want them leaving that room being like that match, that auditorium saying, man, I can't believe how hard them guys were hitting each other.
Yeah.
That's what we want. We want that reaction.
Y'all were here, and that was another thing, too. I was pointing out, I was like, man, y'all all hit each other hard. Y'all were all hitting each other hard. And that whole, like, from the top of the card to the bottom of the card, everybody was laying it in. So, hats off to y'all for sure. It sounded like y'all had a pretty good meeting afterwards as well. So, I think everything went okay.
It really was a fantastic time. I had never been to Philly, Mississippi. I didn't even know there was a Philly, Mississippi.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, to be able to come up there, to drive up there and hang out with you guys like that, like, we greatly appreciate it. It was an awesome time. I really hope we get to do it again. Whatever city it may be in, it doesn't matter.
I hope so. And I think, that's the thing that everybody always complains. I don't know. I mean, you live in New Orleans, so you guys don't have any problems with people coming out to things because there's always something going on. It's a big city, but with these small towns like the one we live in, it's hard to get people to do anything. They just complain about there's nothing to do. And then when you bring something and they don't pack the house, you're just like,
what the hell?
What's going on? But it's also one of those things is like, this was our very first event in Philadelphia. Now we live here. I've lived here, I grew up here and everything, and everybody, most people know me, or somehow or another. It's a small town. But to get folks to come out, it's kind of have to be like word of mouth. Oh yeah, I went and it was awesome. Even my mother is going to be 73, and she came and she said, I had to drive back to Starkville. She lives about an hour and 10 minutes away. She said, I had to drive back to Starkville, but I watched 3 of those matches. And she said, I would have sat there and watched every one of them. It was so much fun. And she's not even, she's not into stuff like that, but she had a blast.
For us, that is the absolute best compliment we could ever get. See, we tell people, our fans with Wildkat, 60% of the Wildkat fans are fans of Wildkat.
Yeah.
Then 20% is fans of wrestling, and then 20% is just people just say, hey, I ain't doing it on a Saturday night, I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
But people like your mom, if we get them to come in, they're not even fans of wrestling, and we hook them with that first match, and they're like, wow, this is great. And then they come back, that for us is a great compliment because they're not even wrestling fans.
Right.
They just entertained, and we absolutely adore that. That's what I was wondering. I was talking with some of the guys. It's like, man, it's like, they had a decent turnout, but it's like, all right, if we do another show in Philly, and then now you have the people that already saw it, and then with the promotion, could we double that number of people in the Coliseum?
I bet we could.
I think we could. I think all those people went home and told their friends who didn't show up that they messed up.
I saw on the schedule for Kayfabe Fest that they're going to be in Lafayette as well. Is that right?
Yeah, we're going to be in Lafayette. We do Louisiana Comic Con in Lafayette.
I mean, Lafayette's only what's that? Grant, is that like 2.5 hours, 3 hours from New Orleans?
About
2 hours,
2.5 hours from y'all. Yeah, it's about an hour, between an hour and an hour and a half from me in Baton Rouge, and so probably about 2.5 hours for y'all. Yeah, which is closer than Philadelphia, Mississippi.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So I mean, that's always a thing. And I mean, again, usually WWE goes to the Cajun Dome when they wrestle.
WWE will be there on Sunday. All right, is that right? WWE.
Yeah, we are closing our doors on Sunday as WWE opens up in the main Cajun Dome building to do a house show, or a live show, a live event. An untelevised wrestling show for those who are not in the know of what that is, which honestly I think are kind of the more fun shows for WWE. But
sometimes they are because they get to do a lot. I mean, I remember one of the house shows. It was one of the house shows after Hurricane Katrina. Yeah. They had a Tuesday night SmackDown ready to be done, but we ended up having a parade for the Saints when they won the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. And so they moved that SmackDown to a Friday night. It was Raw. And that was the show where Jericho made a comment about it was good or something along the lines of it was good that the city got flooded for Hurricane Katrina. And I remember they booed that man out the building.
Yeah. he knew what was going to get him riled up, man. It's good heel work, right?
Boy,
Man,
and then he slapped some guy's drink out of his hand, so all you saw was ice and cola in the air. It was really funny. It was funny.
That's funny. That's really funny. Yeah, it's crazy because we'll be in the Cajun Dome Convention Center, and we'll be kind of like our main stage is in the like Cajun Dome kind of part of it, right? So
no,
it's
all
it's in a different building though.
Yeah, it's not in the dome.
It's not in the dome though. Yeah, that's what it is.
We did the convention center.
But yeah, so they'll be driving in as we're like having our show on Sunday, which is wild. But
right.
it's just showbiz, right? It's entertainment world.
That's
exciting. Plus, I mean, we got a couple wrestlers that are going to be. You might have heard of these guys, Danny. We got a guy named Kevin Nash who's going to be in the building.
Never heard of him.
who we worked with back in September. He was great. Man, we had such a fun panel because Danny, let me tell you about this panel we had. It was Kevin Nash, it was DDP, and it was Mick Foley all on stage at the same time. So
wow,
they just cut up basically. It was just the 30 of them just having a good time. It was fun. And then we'll also have in Lafayette at the Louisiana Comic Con. This is March 9th and 10th. Is we're gonna have Booker T and Charmel, and you know Booker T. Because
very well.
Yeah, you've worked with his promotion, Reality of Wrestling, and then he's also made a couple Wildkat shots as well. So, and we've worked with Booker a couple times, and he's great.
He's so awesome.
Yeah,
I was lucky enough to go have dinner with a bunch of the guys. We all went and had dinner with Stevie Ray, and you talk about an awesome guy right there, man. Yeah. I mean, I know we're talking about Booker, but you can't talk about one member of Harlem Heat and not talk about the other.
Yeah, so Stevie Ray is Booker T's brother.
Right? Yeah.
So, and he was Wildkat champion at one point in time too.
Yep.
Yeah, I heard that. That's awesome.
And that was a crazy saga in and of itself because the championship actually got the belt got stolen from him at one point in time. So.
From him out of his car. That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and he found it in a pawn shop or something like that. Yeah, so.
Yep, and then the person who got it for us, from what I understand, we tried to reward them, and they were like, "Nope, absolutely not. We won't take none of that. Here, have your belt back," which is super awesome. Very, very cool, man.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, you gotta love that. I guess they just love the game. You know what I mean? And just
I mean, hey, look, a blessing is a blessing, man, and it just proves that there really are good people in the world still.
Yeah.
Look, and also, I think since we're talking about guests we have coming up, because Memorial Day week in May, we're doing a show in Biloxi, Southern Nerds Fest, which I like.
That's another one.
I like
Biloxi's only what, an hour, 45 minutes away from New Orleans.
Yeah, that's true. But we got this guy coming. He's called Sting. I don't know if you've heard of this guy, Sting.
Yeah, I may have heard the name.
Yeah. But we work with Sting a lot too. Sting is, look, I'm telling you folks, if y'all haven't been to one of our shows, if you haven't met Sting, you better do it, and you better do it now because he's retiring, and I don't know how many more of these he's going to do. So now would be the time to go meet him, get in that line and meet him because he's awesome. Like when you meet him, he's just a cool guy. So,
I mean, like I said, Biloxi's not that far from me. I mean, and I've never met Sting. That was definitely one I'd like to meet.
And Biloxi's a cool town.
Come on.
I like Biloxi a lot. I'll travel to Biloxi. Pretty much any weekend, so that should be a really fun show.
I'm excited about Biloxi.
Yeah.
I got the last time I was in Biloxi for wrestling, I was on Ted DiBiase Jr.'s show.
Okay.
That's where it was. I don't know if it was the main event or semi-main, but I watched Luke Hawx kick Matt Lancy in the face. And Matt had to wrestle the rest of the match blind.
Oh no!
Because he got square in the nose, man. I mean, like, then come to find out, we didn't find out till years later, but Luke actually broke Matt's nose in that match.
Whoa!
Oh man!
And again, they was in the corner and they were working, and he's like, I can't see nothing. And they were like, they wrestled the entire match, the rest, and it was maybe the last part of the match, the last quarter of it. But then it wasn't until years later that Lancy found out that his nose had been broken, and they had to re-break it to fix everything.
Oh my gosh!
Awesome.
I mean, but Lancy's an animal. That's not the first time that guy has had to wrestle with bones floating around in his body.
That's true. He's had some really gnarly knee injuries,
his last knee injury, he wrestled with a year long with bone fragments in his knee, and he had no idea. Yeah. That dude is an animal.
Matt was there, right? Matt was with us.
Yes. Unfortunately, Matt is on the injured list, and I'm gonna tell you right now, this just backs up what I'm saying about Matt Lancy being an animal. Matt actually had a very bad accident where he tore his bicep, but he fell 15 feet. It could have killed him. It really could have killed him. But Matt Lancey being Matt Lancey, he sat there for a couple minutes and then he jumped up and he's like, "No, I'm okay. I'm okay." And he walked a couple feet and he's like, "Okay, no, I'm not." He says, "I might be alive, but I'm not okay." But Lancey is a different kind of animal. So when you hear Suge White talk about a cupcake, Matt Lancey's the epitome of not being a cupcake. So I mean, like, granted, it takes something like a 15-foot fall to get that guy out of the ring. And here he is now, still training. Like when he had a sling on his arm, he would show up to school, to class, and he would train. He would coach the guys. Like, I mean, he doesn't always have to be in the ring to coach. And I mean, like I said, he's an animal. Just plain and simple, he's an animal.
I'm telling you, and it's funny. He's a big guy. Like you said, he's tough. He's like the nicest guy ever. And then when he gets in the ring, he is like mean. He's mean. He will try to put guys through the mat. It's
Moonbeam, I got one for you, baby. You go look up Matt Lancey versus Danny Flamingo bar fight.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
You get to see Danny Flamingo versus the outlaw Matt Lancey at a bar, the Shamrock, and we fought all over that place.
Okay, I'll check it out.
By all means, you watch that match and then hit me up on Facebook and let me know what you think of that match because it was grueling.
Yeah, so once a year at Wildkat, they do this show at the Shamrock right outside of Metairie, I think, technically. But but it's like, let me explain this bar to you. You've seen the first Ninja Turtle movie, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we know people that were in it, so yes, you've seen it.
I've seen it.
It's like the Shredder's lair in that movie. It's got like bowling alleys. It's got pool tables. It's got, it's a bar. It's got all kinds of other stuff in there as well.
Video games, foosball.
It's like the Shredder's lair in that movie. And so I think y'all wound up on the bowling alley at one point in time. Y'all are behind the bar. The bartenders have no idea what to do. They're freaking out.
They were standing on the beer wells.
Yeah, because they didn't know what to do.
when we set up everything for that, I remember pulling the general manager of the bar on the side, and he's a big Danny Flamingo fan. He's a good friend of mine, Eric. And I said, "Hey man," I said, I might get a little rowdy tonight. Like, what's off limits? And he looked at me with a straight face. He says, "You can go wherever you want, just don't touch the Joker Poker machines." And I said, "No problem, baby." And we tore that house down.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, I'll check that out
real quick because we're getting kind of towards the end of this thing, but we're not done yet. I want to know, because we talked a little bit about this on the last episode. What was y'all's impressions of Mickie James's panel whenever she called Mickey Drama on the carpet?
I did not expect that, and I was so excited about that.
Yeah.
You have to understand, being a coach and helping cultivate these guys for a WWE superstar like her to be like Mickey Drama and to bring him up and to share her panel, her time with him was beyond epic. Absolutely fantastic. I was really happy for him, and it was very exciting to watch them interact because Mickey Drama is definitely a good talent that's coming up quick.
I'll tell you what, man. It was like just watching him walk to the stage. Like, he's just full of charisma, and it was like just a regular Tuesday to him. He didn't seem like he was impressed or anything. Just played it perfectly. And I went and made myself a sign that I wanted to be in the drama club after I saw that.
It's great.
Yeah, he's good. So she was talking about it over at her table. I'll give you the insight real quick, because on the Humbl show we give people a look behind the curtain, and she was talking to some of the fans about it, and she told me that when she walked in, he said something like, "Oh, it's nice to meet the second most popular Mickey in all of wrestling."
Yeah, I heard about that.
They were both wearing black and gold. They were both like color coordinated and everything. So she was telling me about it. So she's like, "You know what? I'm gonna, she's like, this is it. I'm addressing this." And so like, we had a few minutes before the panel, so I just walked by his table, and I just pointed to him and I said, "Be ready for anything." And he said, "Okay." And then I didn't tell him anything else. That's all I said was just be ready for anything. And he said, "Okay." And he walked in. That was his prep. So, he took it and ran with it. It was great, And then Luke got involved. It was funny, man. If y'all missed it, it was a really, really fun panel. And I think the Wildkat crew enjoyed watching Mickey drama, get razzed by Mickey James a little bit. So, you know.
It was good stuff. Yeah.
Well, see, the funny thing is that makes me, as a coach, that makes me feel even better. A lot of times, and this is a little peek behind the curtain for some of your fans, but the way we train at Wildkat, you know, a lot of these newer guys, they don't understand about calling things in the ring. They don't understand about working organically. They have to call everything in the back, and when it doesn't go their way, they don't know how to handle it.
Yeah.
So the fact, Grant, that you only told him to just be ready for anything, and then he went out there and handled himself like a professional, makes me very proud as a coach. Yeah. That, you know, again, it shows that what we do at Wildkat Sports, we do things that most schools don't do. We teach everything from the top to the bottom, because you got to be ready for anything. And most of these guys, they want to go work for WWE and AEW and TNA. And it's like, hey, if you want to be ready, if you want to go to the big leagues, Wildkat Sports is one of the ways to get there.
Yeah. Yeah. And just to clarify for our listeners who may not be, you know, hardcore wrestling fans or whatever, but, you know, calling in the ring versus calling in the back. So, and if you're calling it in the ring, you've got like a few big spots planned out, right? You know how you're going to start it, you know how you're going to finish it, maybe one or two big things in there or whatever, and that's really about it. And then you go in there and basically y'all are figuring it out. Like, you're seeing what the crowd says, you're seeing how things go, you're doing this, you're doing that, and then you're improvising, you know, for most of the match, right? For lack of a better term. Versus calling it in the back is where you really choreograph it ahead of time. Is what a lot of guys, which I think is it's a thing that's become pretty common, I think, from what I understand, in independent wrestling at least. And I know that is a lot of folks frown upon that, and I understand why. Because if you're trying to keep,
I think it takes away from the storytelling. Yeah. You know, we should be able to walk into it. If you train like you're supposed to train to be a professional wrestler, you can walk into a ring with anybody, even though you haven't talked to them in the back, and you should be able to wrestle a match in that ring with anybody, period. And it is a lost art form that just it's being lost in our business, and Wildkat Sports prides ourselves on trying to keep that alive.
Improv.
I mean, because you got to think, you know, I mean, let's say you get lost, you don't know where the building is, you try to figure it out, you run into the thing, your music hits, and then you got to wrestle a match. You know, like, things happen.
Well, so, Mickey James said a similar thing. Remember, she said she liked wrestling Beth Phoenix because her and Beth, she could be running late. She could have a flat tire. And when she walks in, she can go straight to the ring and wrestle a match with Beth and have a great match. I tell my students that all the time. It's like, hey, you might walk in, shake the guy's hand, say hello, and your music hits, and you have to go out. You ain't got time to go over anything. That's why we train. That's why you can't have just some Tom, Dick, Joe, or Harry come off the street and say, oh, hey, I'm a pro wrestler. No, you're not. We put the time in order to do things like professionals. And unfortunately, that is a lost thing in our business nowadays.
Well, I'm glad y'all do, because I love wrestling. I would never want to do it. That's just, you know, I don't want to bump. I don't want to take any chops. I don't want to have to call anything. I'm just going to sit down. I'm going to watch y'all do it, and I'm going to have a good time watching it.
And we appreciate that. Yeah. Now before we go, because I saw my little timer pop up, but I have a question for the two of you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we got something here to wrap it up with. Yeah, go ahead with what you got there. We got time.
I'm curious as to what was y'all's favorite matches of the night. Your favorite match of the night.
Oh, you're gonna put us on the spot. Well,
I am.
Here's the thing. I'm not just saying this because you're here. I mean, you and Chuck put on a great match.
Thank you.
I mean, besides y'all,
we had a tag match. That was awesome.
I love slime season.
Yeah.
That was my favorite match of the night. Was slime season. That was my favorite.
They were amazing.
Slime season.
They were awesome.
Yeah, they loved that one.
Those guys, and you know, it's crazy because Zane that's a big dude. Like,
him and Caleb are fantastic.
My goodness.
And so okay, so I know Caleb has done some work in TNA, right? The Revolt, though, they've wrestled as the Revolt in TNA too. And I didn't look this up. Can you clarify that or no? Do you know offhand?
Guys, that is true. I would be speaking very ignorantly if I told you. I'm not sure myself either, but I do know they've definitely been around for a minute. Zane is quite capable, as is Caleb.
Yeah,
man, they were unbelievable athletes. Like we were talking. Well, we interviewed Brady and he was talking about how it's just it's not like you can just go in there and, you know, regular athlete and do it. He said it's a whole different kind of keeping up, because of, the endurance to be in the ring, doing everything for as long as you have to be in there without being, I don't know how to say it, without just completely wearing out, I guess.
We say blown up.
Yeah. I don't know how you guys do it, because it's constant acrobatics and constant, heavy lifting. And it's just, woo.
You got to remember, you have to remember to breathe.
That's a whole different kind of athlete. I mean, seriously, it's unbelievable what you guys do.
Did y'all see Zane's face after the match?
I did. He had a little mark on his face.
He ate that drop kick from Jay Spade, man. Like, boy, right on the button. I even asked him in the back. I was like, dude, does Zane owe you money? He's like, man, Danny, don't say that. I was like, bro, his eye looked bad.
Yeah, it was red. He had a nice red mark on his face. I did see that afterwards. But I even heard him say, he's like, it happens.
It's like Steve Austin says, a bad day at the office.
Yeah.
Those guys were awesome.
It's all good. He just looks cool now. Whatever.
So we're in agreement. Our favorite match of the night was the tag match, right? Or Grant, are you staying with Danny Flamingo versus Chuck Devon?
No, y'all had a very high caliber match, but I think the tag match was, my favorite match of the night.
I agree.
I like tag team wrestling too. I'm a little biased, but still.
It was a lot of fun.
All right, so here's the deal, because like you said, we're getting the signal to wrap it up here. But, Danny, so I don't know if you know this, but we like to play trivia towards the end of every episode. So I got a little game for us to play. If you're down to play,
I hope it's wrestling trivia, so I can.
Here's the thing: we've done so much wrestling trivia. It's not wrestling trivia.
Oh, the horrible thing is I've been very much turned off by the product that's been on TV, so I have not kept up with very much. So now I'm excited to hear that it's not wrestling trivia.
Oh, no, it's actually it's not even all of my wrestling trivia lately has been like movie related, TV related, kind of thing, whatever. But so I've got a game here that we've played before on this show. It's called the TV Ladder. And so I've got some TV shows here. So I have a TV show, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to read you the names of some people that are kind of lower on the call sheet, and then work my way up the call sheet, and then whoever can guess the name of that show based on the credits will get a point. All right.
Now, is it going to be characters or actual actors?
So I'll be giving you the names of the actors. Yeah, actors.
Okay.
So we're going to start at the bottom and work our way up the ladder. Because I'm not going to start off with if
obviously, yeah, gotcha.
Do we? And you want us to just holler out when we know it?
Yeah, when you know it, just yell it out. Okay. Look, here's the first one. All right. Excuse me. I'm gonna start with Mark Margolis. Okay. Tony Dalton. Michael McKean. A lot of these you may not know at first.
Laverne and Shirley.
That's not that. Moonbeam. This guy you and I know. Giancarlo Esposito.
Oh, Better
Michael
Call Saul.
Breaking
Bad.
It's not Breaking Bad. Patrick Fabian.
Oh, I said Better Call Saul already.
It is Better Call Saul. Yes. Well, here's the thing.
I suck at this game.
We've only done one. It's fine. You said not Better Call Saul, so I didn't count it.
I said it's not Better Call Saul.
Yeah. So when you said no, it's not the correct answer, then then I didn't.
I was being funny.
Yeah, we worked with Giancarlo back in September, and he got very philosophical during his panel, and they loved it. They packed that room. They were out in the hallway watching it from the doorway. It was insane. And you know what's funny? And I told him this in the panel. We were late to his panel because the other celebrities in the green room wanted to meet him.
Oh, nice.
Tell him to buy a ticket.
Right.
Yeah, hey, we're taking care of him. Look, we're going to do another one. It's okay. Look. All right. We are going to start with this next show. Mike Henry. Patrick Warburton. Alexis Borstein. Mila Kunis, also in the show.
Family Guy.
It is Family Guy, yes.
I got one.
All right, we're tied up here. Oh, we're going to do another one. Let's see.
Man, if you throw some Star Trek in now, some Star Wars, or some X-Men,
some Mandalorian, perhaps.
Yeah, Mandalorian.
All right, look, check this out. We're gonna go with Edwin Lee Gibson,
Oh, the name sounds familiar.
Abby Elliott, Liza Colon Zayas, Lionel Boyce, Maddie Matheson is in this show. You don't know who Maddie Matheson is? How about
Sounds familiar.
Eben Moss Bacharach? And the last name I'm going to give you is Jeremy Allen White. That is
Shameless.
The bear.
What's that? What'd y'all say? You said
Shameless.
Moonbeam, what'd you say?
I said the bear.
It is the bear, yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, look at that.
See, here's the thing, because Danny was just in The Iron Claw with Jeremy Allen White, so I threw that one in there. But yeah, no, you're right. He did Shameless. Shameless ran for like a long time.
I loved him.
When I worked with him, that's what everybody knew him from, was from Shameless. I felt terrible. I looked at the man straight in his face and I was like, I'm sorry, I've never seen anything you've been in. You know, I knew Zach, obviously. My daughters grew up with High School Musical and everything, but I mean, the guy was a great talent, man. He was super fit, and he took direction very, very well.
He's an amazing actor.
Yeah, he did great.
Yeah,
I love the bear and Shameless. They're both. I mean, the characters in Shameless every one of them are despicable humans. You still love them.
That ending dream sequence or afterlife sequence in Iron Claw was fantastic. Like that's what I told my wife. I was like, look, it's a heavy movie, but they really do a scene at the end, you know, last two scenes, and it really just, it gives you, they put that Hollywood spin on it, but it sent everybody home, you know, not so much happy, but your heart was warm when you went home.
End on such a sad note because of that. Yeah, I feel like it really, you know, such a kind of weird when you're telling a true story to end it with that kind of thing, but I kind of feel like the movie needed it, you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then even unfortunately with taking Chris Von Erich out of the story altogether, like it would have just been too much to have one more in there, you know?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. It's true. No, I think everything they did, everything they took out, you know, and everything that they embellished, it accomplished the goal. You know, so it made sense.
Absolutely.
All right, I'm gonna do another one here. I'm gonna start with a guy named Jeremy Strong, Sarah Snook, Alan Ruck, Matthew McFadden, Peter Friedman. How about this one? Kieran Culkin.
Is this a TV show?
It's a TV show. Brian Cox also.
Oh.
And
I know who that is. That's Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah. The OG, right?
I mean, is it just their voice?
No, he's in it.
Okay.
All right, y'all don't know it. It is Succession is the show.
I never watched it.
I wouldn't have got that, yeah.
Yeah,
right.
I never watched it, but it just won an Emmy, didn't it?
It did, yeah.
Or
so if you haven't noticed, all these shows have won Emmys recently within the last few years. That's where I'm going with a lot of these here.
Yeah,
all right.
I haven't heard that.
Let's do one more. It might end in a tie. I don't know. This was meant to be the tiebreaker, but still, we're going to try it anyway. Lisa Emery, Charlie Trahan, Julia Garner, Skylar Gardner, Sophia Hublitz, Laura Linney, you know who that is?
Yeah.
And Jason Bateman.
Oh, Ozark.
It is Ozark. Very good.
I wouldn't have got that. Nope.
Danny, have you seen Ozark?
It's good.
No.
Oh, dude, you're gonna.
Is it?
Let me tell you
It's
something.
good.
You're gonna watch episode 1 and you're gonna be like, "What is this show?"
Yeah,
Like, it starts out and it's amazing. Moving
Yeah,
and taking the game, nicely done. You broke the streak of our guests beating the hosts on the thing here. That's all right.
It's because Brandon's
glad I could do that for you, baby. No problem.
Man, I appreciate it. Let me win.
He put you over. Is what happened. He came in. You know, he came in. His job was to put you over, and that was it. So
that's it. I did my job.
We appreciate you coming in. Look, Danny Flamingo, thank you so much. Let us know if you're going to be somewhere. Let us know where you can find you.
That could be on Instagram, Danny Flamingo. And then you can follow my fan page on Instagram. Not on Instagram, on Facebook. And then if you're lucky enough to know my shoot name and you find me on Facebook, by all means, I get flack from the boss with that all the time because they won't let me change my name on Facebook. So
They won't let me change
I'm just going to say it's very Italian. But anyway.
Very Italian.
Well, look, I'm getting the signal here to wrap up. Denny Flamingo, again, thank you so much. Y'all check him out wherever you can find him. And also be on the lookout on YouTube for those Kayfabe Fest matches as well. Because
absolutely,
we're filmed. So subscribe to the Wildkat Sports and Entertainment YouTube as well, y'all. Look, check it out. We're going to be back here for another visit on the Humbl Show next week. Make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you follow us everywhere. But until then, y'all stay humble.
Thank you, guys.